I've been driving it, trying to drive it very conservatively to see if I could get the MPGs.
Sounds like he's lying.
Yeah, all right. Well, maybe not.
Trying to drive it very conservatively.
Maybe not on the highway.
Hey, Brian.
Hey, Cliff.
How's your mic?
Oh, it's walking like an Egyptian. It's working great.
Nice. So this is the inaugural. That's a hard word. This is the first. So Brian,
The first. Yeah, I would go with the first.
this is the first Trail Mix podcast here at Troger Pro ever, where we're going to talk about all things Toyota and maybe other subjects as
Who
well.
knows? We could go anywhere.
We're going to see where this goes.
I like it.
Okay. All right. But what we're going to talk about first is we very recently bought a 2024 Toyota Land Cruiser. Here is our display of said Land Cruiser, shot taken by our own Austin. Whew, that's a fire shot. I just saw that this morning, as you know, and lost my mind.
You did.
When
Absolutely.
I saw that. Yeah.
And there's more of those.
There are more of
and
those.
there's more coming.
There's more coming.
Or at least we've been told.
Right. And I demanded to Austin that when he shoots fire like that, I need to know promptly. Right. So Austin over there, I can see him right now. He's red in the face.
He did make a cameo in one of the last videos. So
He did. We might need to get him in more. So what we're going to touch on about the Land Cruiser is we've owned it now for about 3 weeks. We're going to give our first impressions. We're also going to touch on driving experience.
Absolutely.
Technology, and audio. So our feelings about those 4 categories to start. Now, again, this is 3 weeks of ownership, divvying up ownership between the two of us.
Yeah, it's been a lot of here I drive it for a week, you drive it for a week. So I think it's a pretty fair gauge on like what it's like to own and drive a Land Cruiser versus what we both drove before, being a 4Runner and a Tundra. So kind of a completely different thing.
Yep. So to preface this, which I think is important, is that you're coming from a 2021 Toyota Tundra, big white whale.
Big white whale.
Yeah.
Yep. Trail whale.
Right. And I'm coming from a 2020 4Runner and also a 2023 GX, which is my cart kids around vehicle because the 4Runner got too big and
it didn't fit the parking garage.
Kay couldn't fit in it. She
didn't fit in the parking garage anymore. So
Right. She's almost 6 and she had to like basically scale the side of the 4Runner in order to get in. So it got a little impractical. So that's important perspective. I think, as we've learned, the Land Cruiser is kind of in between those two vehicles in a lot of areas, size especially.
It's definitely smaller than the Tundra.
Yeah.
The last video we did on Land Cruiser was delivery day. Mm-hmm. Obviously it's a curb appeal is huge with the Land Cruiser. I mean, it's the black paint, the black fenders, the black wheel. Like it just, from just looking at it, it's beautiful, both the outside and the inside. A lot of throwback kind of stuff mixed in there. We're actually at Toyotas and Coffee. If you remember, there was that 91 Land Cruiser that had the same air vents.
My technical term, jet engine.
Jet engines, yes. They do look like turbines, but so kind of a nod to Toyota to like keep that heritage that we're kind of used to. And then, but yeah, like you said, coming from a Tundra, the Land Cruiser is like a completely different beast.
Yeah.
One, it's obviously a lot smaller. Legroom for the driver is pretty good, but in the Tundra, the legroom for the passenger in the back seat is also very good. But in the Land Cruiser, it's a little smaller. Especially you have small kids, I have small kids, and they like to just.
I also have medium kids too.
You also have medium kids, but
so many.
Wonder what causes that.
Right.
But
no comment.
They their ability to kick the back of the seat is a little easier in the Land Cruiser. But like as far as driving, it's zippy. It's fun to drive. Like it's a lot quieter in a lot of aspects than the Tundra. Tundra's lifted 3 inches. It has 35s.
The TRD
Pro. It just makes the TRD Pro exhaust on the Tundra. It makes more noises than the Land Cruiser. Driving around town, I think it catches a lot of people off guard, like how fast you can just.
I raced a Ferrari in it.
Did you?
No.
Did you want to?
I did.
I feel like you maybe could have gotten him off the line. But.
Probably if he wasn't paying attention.
Right.
Yeah.
But, it's been fun to drive. I think, Emily, she wrote in the other day. It was very, for her, it was very reminiscent of her Hyundai Palisade as far as, interior features and kind of that luxury feel.
That's the vehicle she has now?
The previous vehicle,
Okay.
But the same, the leather and the steering wheel and it was very, that luxury feel of the interior was very reminiscent. She was kind of like, oh, I could probably get into one of these.
Yeah.
Because now she has a Subaru.
Oh, I'm in one of these.
Right. Well, but now she has a Subaru Forester, and it's very
smaller.
Well, but it's a very different feel than the Land Cruiser.
Right.
From just leather and tech and the kind of just overall feel. So basically it's a lot different than the Tundra, but it's different in good ways.
Yeah.
So I mean, I know you have you're the opposite kind of feeling that I have, where it's like I'm going from a larger vehicle to a slightly smaller vehicle, where you said you felt like you're kind of going the other way from the 4Runner.
Yeah, so like first impressions from a size perspective, it's a size up. I mean, the dimensions of it are larger just in the specs, but the first thing that I noticed, one, is when I got in, to the right and left of me, there's more room from the driver's seat. And I know for you, it's probably coming down.
Yeah, a little bit.
So
but
it felt more spacious. And I'm not a small 4Runner owner. I mean, I'm 6'1", maybe a little bit more. I'm unfortunately 235 pounds right now.
More hockey.
Trying to get down. So anyway, I'm not small. So when I get into that extra, I don't know what it is, inch, maybe 3/4 of an inch, it's noticeable. And then the big thing that I noticed, which we've talked about, is when I turn over my right shoulder to look at Kate in the back, who's in her child seat, she seems super far away, which is great. Spacious. And she even said, you kind of said she just likes the new shiny thing, which might be true. But she's like, I love this. She hates the 4Runner. She absolutely hates it. She says it's dirty all the time and whatever.
You're like, kid, it's a 4Runner.
I was like, this is not that dirty. But yeah, she says it's dirty. So it's clean. She can get in it easily. So size-wise, I think it's great. It's not quite a Sequoia, obviously not quite a Tundra, kind of right in between. So the next thing is, when I got in it, obviously the tech is far advanced, but we'll save that for later. But the drive, the speed of it, that torquey, just zippiness,
just goes.
It feels very, advanced, from a driving technology perspective.
Yeah, it's way faster than the Tundra is okay, well, we'll get there eventually.
Right.
And the Land Cruiser just...
Right. Yeah, and in the Tundra and even the 4Runner, one, because you've got that sort of exhaust noise, that low grumble. You feel like you're earning every foot that you
made a lot of noise, but I went somewhere. Hell yeah!
In the Land Cruiser, it's it's just different. Very torquey, very responsive. For example, in our vehicles, we have the pedal commander to get more responsive. In this, it's, in my opinion, already responsive, which feels like it has a faster throttle response than...
Yeah, I think that's the difference in the straight gas motor versus having a hybrid motor where you're not... It's two different systems working together in the Land Cruiser versus just trying to chug along in a
And you're an expert in packing and Tetris game in a vehicle. So when you get in the Land Cruiser, it's basically like a box. So it's I can fit so much. It feels like I can fit so much stuff in here, at least for me, because...
I will say I do enjoy that on the Land Cruiser over the Tundra because, it has a cargo area, which, my truck has a cargo area, but it's outside.
Right.
So, just throwing groceries or, it's whatever in the back, it's it's fine. I can just fit it all in there and it's good. Versus,
it's not going to blow away.
Yeah, it's not going to blow away. I don't have to worry about it getting wet. Whatever. It just pack it in there, and then
Although you have the tent, so it's just still side rain.
Well, I don't know. The way it's been raining here recently, it's been
That's true.
Forrest Gump rain. It comes from all different directions.
That's true. Last night it was raining sideways, and the raindrops were about an inch, and I thought it was hail, but it wasn't. It was just rain. That was giant rain.
Giant rain.
It's like prehistoric rain. That's basically what we have right now. Prehistoric rain. All right, so that's first impressions. I guess we've kind of already dipped into driving experience a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, I think there's more to cover there, but
Yeah.
another kind of departure, the Land Cruiser, you kind of alluded to it before, was the tech. And we kind of joked about it like last week or something, where it was like the Land Cruiser forces you to drive the way that the the manual at the DMV tells you that you should drive.
Right.
So, it's got the lane departure, it's got the cross traffic, it's the heads-up display tells, it alerts you to absolutely everything.
Yeah, it alerts you how bad of a driver you are.
Yeah, it's like you're driving like a total jerk.
Yeah,
and
yeah,
I'm going to let you know because I'm going to start dinging and there's arrows and things, vibrate, and especially even Toyota, like I said earlier, with how quiet it is, like you don't necessarily hear other vehicles. Whether it just be the next, like a car on the street or like an emergency vehicle, like they're just so sound dampened that like you almost need those safety features just to be like, hey, you were actually about to get in an accident.
Yeah.
I think for a lot of people that's good. Like I would probably personally turn some of the safety features off.
Oh yeah.
Just to like give everybody an example, like so in downtown Frederick is Market Street, and it's a little 2-lane road, and there's parallel parking on both sides of the road, and people love to just drive up the road and go, oh, there's a parking spot, and just try to dive in it.
Yeah.
And I'm driving and I'm like, oh God, I'm about to hit this car. I go to turn left, the Land Cruiser pushes me back in the lane because I didn't put my turn signal on to change lanes. And I'm like, so like in certain situations like that, I was like, oh my God, this thing's gonna make me get in a wreck.
Yeah.
But again, it's like, well, I guess I just need to be quicker on the turn signal. Because if you just activate the turn signal, then it would let me do whatever I wanted to do.
Right. Have you tried to activate the turn signal and go the wrong way?
No.
Okay.
Does it freak out on that?
I don't know. I'm just wondering.
All right, well, here you go. It's a test for later. We're going to put the left turn signal on and turn right.
Don't recommend you do this at home, please.
The trained professionals.
Yeah. We'll go. Yeah.
But so, yeah, I mean, a lot of tech, the whole infotainment system is obviously like there's a lot of control in there. The wireless charging pad, the wireless connectivity is pretty sweet.
Yep. The cool box.
I did use the cool box over the holiday weekend.
Yeah.
Verified, fits 4 cans of whatever your favorite drink is.
Yep.
Obviously, we don't recommend drinking and driving. That's
for driving and storing.
Driving and storing, right?
Yeah.
So, but it verified 4 cans. Forfeit. Yeah.
Okay. Cool.
Probably a sandwich on top if you wanted to do that. But
Nice. Yeah. So similar feelings, about both driving experience and technology. I think it's important to note that I thought about this, but I'm like, oh, we can turn these features off. Like you said, you spent a few minutes trying to turn it off and couldn't figure it out.
Yeah, there was like
I haven't gotten that far yet, but I assumed like, oh, this will be easy. So like now we got to figure that out. Someone watching probably thinks we're dumb, but that's okay.
Hey, you know what? Whatever. Hey, if you guys are watching, you can figure out how to turn off the thing when you put it in reverse and the mirrors tip down.
Yeah.
Hit us up in the hit us up and let us know because that is the number one.
Again, probably total time invested 2 minutes to try to figure it out, but we got a few things going on. But no, that was my first thing. I was like, I definitely want to turn this off. So what was happening with me was I take this normal route, and it's a loop around to a highway, and then I need to immediately, so I'm on the left-hand side, and I have to immediately get all the way over to the right-hand side within like probably a mile.
Yeah, they don't give you a lot of room here in Maryland to like get on and off the highway. It's ridiculous.
Right. So I didn't even know. I travel that so often that I'm driving and I'm just literally ripping over to the other side.
Cliff's
and
autopilot.
I'm getting pulled.
Yeah.
And I don't know why, because of course I didn't know the features of apparently what we bought.
It happens.
Yeah. So I thought something was wrong with it. Literally thought something was wrong with it. And so I'm forcing myself over, and then, after a period of time, I'm like, oh, like this is trying to prevent me from
intended to
go out of the lane. So like I said in the beginning, this was this indication that like I'm a bad driver. Like I'm not a good driver. Like
I would say bad driver. Just like it's the failure to use lane change, your signaling devices.
I think you said it perfectly. It's the failure to follow the basic rules in the DMV handbook.
Right.
Like use your turn signals, like stuff like that.
Don't be a jerk.
Right.
Yeah.
I wasn't trying to be a jerk. It just anyway. So lesson learned. So TBD on figuring out how to turn those features off. Again, if you know, put it in the comments below, please, because we don't know yet. Love the wireless Apple CarPlay, Android Auto. Love the wireless charging pad. The display is sweet. I love the tech that isn't help me drive better tech.
Right. Yeah. That's the creature comfort stuff.
Yeah.
Like, you know, I was even like, I've heard a lot of stuff with like the wireless charging pad, especially in the Tundra. There's the one that goes like in the center console.
Yeah.
And like a lot of times, like,
Which is, to me, is super inconvenient.
Well, I mean, it's not that bad. I mean, it's like a good storage spot, but like cases like this, where like, especially the new iPhones, like where the camera lens sticks out. Like I always saw in the comments that people like their phone wouldn't lay flat enough for it to charge.
Right. Oh.
Because it's like, it was always tipped up. It wasn't quite like flat on the charge thing. And I haven't had that problem at all in the Land Cruiser. I get in, I throw my phone down on the thing.
The force is strong.
The force is strong with this one.
Yeah.
I mean, it's the dark side.
It is the dark side. Again, we had no choice in that matter. We did have a choice if we waited, but you know, why wait?
Well, we did have a choice in the matter. It was either get one or not.
Right. True.
But like go back to tech. Yeah, the wireless thing's like nice because you don't have to, like, you know, my Tundra, I have a separate wireless charging thing that like just takes up more room, and like in this it fits right in the console.
Yeah.
Phone connects like instantly.
Right. So one of the things about it that I actually don't love are the sliders on it, and we kind of talked about this.
Come on now, that ain't even bullshit. That's horse shit.
Yeah, that's about right. Yeah,
I'll argue on that one, but okay.
Wait, with me or against me?
Against.
Oh, really? You like the rock sliders? Wait, I thought we talked about this. So the rock sliders are like they're basically under the vehicle.
What they are compared to what Toyota's put on other vehicles.
Yeah.
They're actually like all right. Go back to the Roush Creek trip.
Well, yeah, your Predator steps.
My Predator steps.
Yeah,
were like,
we knew those were going to get ripped off. Like that.
I know, but what I'm saying is like the side rails on the Land Cruiser, they're like actually attached to the frame.
No. I'm with you on that.
Yeah,
I'm with you on that.
So now, are they necessarily like, if you're looking for something that like is a step to get up in and out of the vehicle?
Right.
Not so
I
much
need dual purpose. I need.
But what I'm saying is from factory, I think they're a great upgrade over previous versions on other vehicles that were just like, you knew they're like the Predator steps. We knew they were going to get trashed.
Yeah, right.
It was just a matter of how bad.
Right. So functionally, to do their job, they're fine.
Right. Yeah.
But
they look great.
Practically, so when we think about who's going to be using this vehicle, you know, how many people are actually going to be using this solely as a off-road vehicle? Like,
right, yeah.
You have some, but not many. So, like, my daughter Kate, who's, like I said, almost 6, goes to step on it and can't because her foot keeps on it. Then she tries to wedge her foot in between the body and and I'm like, no. Like, don't do that.
Lauren, who's 5, does the same thing, and I almost just at this point I help her in and out of it because I'm so afraid that she's like, especially even getting out, she tries to put her heel on it, and I was like, man, she's just gonna like slide off, and she's gonna end up in the parking lot, and
right. So
I do agree with you on that. For like a dual purpose thing, not if they were out a little bit, maybe, but they're really tight to the body.
Like even the 20-degree sliders I have on the 4Runner from Westcott Designs, like perfect. So they're still 20 degree. They're facing up. They got the kick out. Yeah, but she doesn't even step on the kick out. She just steps up, like right. It's perfect. It sticks out a little bit more. And frankly, I don't know, man. They're so tucked under that I don't know. I mean, you have to get pretty sideways to hit the body there. But anyway,
you have to roll over a pretty big rock, big rock to just like take a direct hit.
Yeah. So I mean, I think there'll probably be some better aftermarket solutions for that. But to your point, way better than any other stock option we've ever seen.
They're not just bolted to the underside of the door, like or just the floor pan, and
not there, or just plastic steps, which is what the 4Runner came with.
Those things were hideous.
Yeah, they were bad.
They were a great step, but they were like, other than that, they were like not great.
Those came off even before I could afford to get sliders. I was like, I'd just rather have nothing.
Oh yeah, I remember that. You're like, I'm just gonna clean this whole thing up right now, and
just nothing. But like aesthetically speaking, the vehicle, like, it's beautiful. It's just very different. So driving down the road, so driving experience a little bit here, getting on the highway, it's a box on wheels.
Oh yeah.
It's 100% a box on wheels. So the wind that hits. So there's not any driving noise. There's no road noise.
No, you don't hear anything from the ground up,
Right.
or like really sides in, but
the wind,
the
coming at
front,
you.
and then even the factory roof rack.
Right.
I mean, it has the cowl on it, but
Yeah.
it for whatever reason it just still gets like a lot of
It gets pummeled.
yeah.
Yeah, and I don't know. I mean, again, I have probably driven it a total of 4 days, in that time, maybe 5. I don't know, but it definitely is louder than as comparison to the 4Runner and the GX. The GX is like a bullet. Just the body,
the nose is pointing.
Oh yeah, it just goes.
I will say that the Land Cruiser has more wind noise than my Tundra.
yeah.
and I have 4 Wolfpack Pro boxes
Wow.
strapped to the top,
Yeah.
and a tent and an awning and like traction boards
Yeah.
and like
Right.
even with like flat boxes on my roof, I still don't feel like there's a lot of wind noise. So I don't know what the difference is like the aerodynamics
Well,
of
the windshield is just almost flat.
yeah.
It's
and I forget who I was talking to. We kind of compared it like, because when you look at your 4Runner, the windshield's like pretty sloped.
Yeah.
And like we felt like the Land Cruiser windshield was more like FJ-esque.
Yeah, right.
Where it's
Right.
it's not like a Jeep where Jeep's like straight up
Yeah.
and down, but it's more vertical than so I mean I even noticed that the other I was driving it in backcountry and just bug splatters everywhere. 'Cause
Oh, yeah.
nothing goes
No, nothing. Flies
Nothing
off.
goes up and over.
Which concerns me about rocks. That rock is just going to pummel right into it. Like, there's no ricochet. It's just bam. And yeah, I guess we'll see. But yeah, I mean, the way I look at this vehicle so far, so 3 weeks of ownership, is the FJ. Like when it came out, it was a very desired taste. Like,
oh yeah,
it's gained like broad acceptance since then. Like since they discontinued it, it's sort of like become this like nostalgic sort of
it's become this nostalgic, and I feel like it's the population is like transition. Like I see more that like people are just building them for off-road
Right.
purposes,
Right.
and
Right.
versus like when they came out and everybody's like, oh, I could totally daily that, and then
Right.
you got in and you're like, windshield's this big,
Right, and then you realize, oh no, there's only 2 doors. Like, you know what I mean? Well, so this has 4 doors, so it's obviously way more practical, but it's very FJ inspired. It's very unique. So in regards to the boxiness of this, because it is super boxy. So after sort of driving around for a few days, then I started to kind of look around a little bit, and I'm thinking about this vehicle. And while it doesn't have a removable top, I'm thinking about it in comparison to the Bronco, and even so, the Wrangler. So
Yeah.
while it's not a removable top vehicle, if you're thinking about getting in that type of vehicle, now I think people buy a Bronco or a Wrangler for the fact that you can remove the top.
yeah. I mean, everybody I've known that has one, it's like
Yeah,
doors, top, gone.
right. Of course.
So obviously that's not everybody's flavor.
Yeah.
but-
So I wonder if somebody is somebody who's not a Toyota enthusiast. Like obviously a Toyota enthusiast is going to choose this, but if you're not, do you sway because of the way it looks, because of this vehicle, because it's boxy, or do you kind of stay over there? And like remains to be seen. But like for Toyota enthusiasts, obviously it's like lots of heritage, lots of
it's
very reminiscent.
Yeah,
of-
like I said earlier, there's all sorts of little throwbacks, and I guarantee there's probably stuff in there that we haven't even found yet.
I know there is. Yeah, right. There's tires on it, allegedly. So let's talk about the last thing, because we haven't taken it off road yet. We can't really talk about any of those
Right.
things yet, but we obviously we have a lot of audio solutions here at
1 or 2 things.
here at Trailgun Pro for Toyotas. So talk about your first impressions of the audio, and then I'll share my thoughts. Now remember, this is the upgraded JBL
Yeah.
system.
So I'm trying to figure out how to phrase this because so we're, like I said in the delivery video, I mean it does have the JBL system. It has supposedly all it's the first edition, so it has all the bells and the whistles,
Bells and whistles.
extra bells,
Yeah.
extra whistles.
Yeah.
Kind of it's 2 things to me, right? It's there's the tech side of it, so like the head unit functionality and what it's capable of, and then there's everything behind the head unit.
Yeah.
So JBL amplifier, JBL sound system, head unit, love it. Nice big screen. It's very, user friendly. Obviously, like any of the other head unit bundles that we sell, that's what people are looking for.
It's beautiful.
The CarPlay, the nice crisp display, the wireless capabilities, like we already talked about, is all a plus. Mm-hmm. But yet, when you go into the sound settings, you still get treble, mid, bass on a slider.
Yeah. Yeah.
And then I'm like, okay, well, let's try to jazz this up a little bit.
No jazz.
No jazz. No jazz hands.
Right. That's all the jazz you get.
And, all right, so we know that, like, the JBL amplifier kind of constrains itself.
Yeah.
And we know that because with the, the Sony and the Alpine units that we sell for the other vehicles, that you can go in there and kind of tweak the factory JBL amplifier to kind of increase the gain.
Yeah.
But I still don't know if that's enough, which obviously you can't do that because that screen is what it is. Mm-hmm. Like, I don't know if the JBL amplifier, even tweaking it, is enough because, like, the subwoofer's in the hatch. It's in the rear hatch. And it puts out, like,
nothing.
Yeah. Like, I don't even, like, most songs I don't even hear it. And I listen to, like, a lot of, rocks things with, like, a lot of bass in the, rock things. Like, and it's just like, the door speakers, like, they put out a pretty good amount of bass for, being a woofer, but the actual subwoofer itself in the hatch is like
MIA.
I'm like, where are you? So I think there's room there.
Oh yeah. Although there's 100%. It's a very expensive vehicle. Like, let's not.
Yeah.
Forget about that.
But but I think it holds true to Toyota's mantra where they're like, hey, motor's good, transmission's good.
Yeah.
We'll give you something that plays radio.
Right.
So
what I find is interesting is that from an aesthetic perspective, it's a big advancement. It looks great. Those tweeters and
the A-pillars.
Yeah, they look
they're
sweet.
Like purpose, like like people do that in, like, aftermarket applications to try to make them look that clean. So
it looks sweet, and I'll start with sort of the tech first, in the sense of, like, the head unit. I don't know if you call it that anymore. The display is sweet. I mean, it's beautiful the way it's integrated with the way it kind of slopes. So from the digital gauge display slopes over to the infotainment display, and then you almost have this, like, ledge where now all of your functions are for heat and AC.
Yeah, the buttons.
Yeah, it's like a keyboard.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And so as I went from that into the GX, so the GX is it's very flat. And so the 4Runner is also very flat. So they used to be these sort of flat, like the dash was just this flatness, this push buttons in, where now it's like almost coming at you a little bit. It's a lot more ergonomic than it used to be. So you can play the
keyboard.
The keyboard for your various functions. So that is all sweet. The wireless charging pad right here, that makes sense to put it there. I hate them when they're in here. So that's great. So that whole thing I love. But when I turned on the audio system, given the advancements, the way everything looks, the display, definitely not impressed. Like, so obviously in our personal vehicles, we have good stereo systems, because that's
we like to think.
It's part of what
we put them in. So.
Yeah, part of what we do. But the
shameless plug.
The GX is stock. Okay, it's a 2023 non-premium GX.
Non-premium.
Does not have the Mark Levinson. It is better than the Land Cruiser audio system, like, hands down better. So a lot to be desired in that area. Now, mind you, 80%, 90% of the population probably won't care.
Right.
But, part of what we do is, like, if you're looking for more, like, that's part of the reason why we bought this, is we want to have solutions not only for audio, a whole bunch of other areas to enhance the experience. I mean, like you said, Toyotas, what you're paying for is longevity. Obviously, it's sweet. Don't get me wrong. You're paying for longevity. So you're going to have this vehicle for a long time if you choose to. So putting an audio system in it that is going to enhance that experience, like, you're going to get your money's worth every time.
Yeah,
you know what I mean?
You're probably looking for something that's going to last as long as the vehicle.
Yeah.
I mean, at least that's been our experience, is that people want something that's as good as the vehicle that they're putting it in.
Right.
Yeah.
And love Toyota. Like, nothing against Toyota. Frankly, I guess that's JBL's fault. but love JBL too. Like no. It's just, look, Toyota sells vehicles. That's what they do, and they do it very well, and they make money very well. So, hey, like, if I had listened to the audio system before we bought this, would it have changed my mind? Absolutely not.
No, because we knew going into it, because we now own a smattering of Toyota Lexus vehicles that's
par for the course.
Par for the course, and that sooner than later it's going to get torn out, and something else is going to get fit in, and life will be good again.
Yeah.
Not that not that it was bad before.
Life is terrible right now.
This audio system is slowly killing me. No, but it's pretty sweet right now, but it could always, it just needs that cherry on top.
Yeah. If you could give so far in the first 3 weeks of ownership, you give it a grade.
Well, what's the scale here? Are we going
A, B, C, D, E, F.
Okay. We're going school rules.
School rules. Yeah. Old school. I think now they give them like SEs and W's and
double E's.
X's.
Meets expectation, exceeds expectation.
Everyone gets a participation award. Overall, so
well, that's why I'm trying to like balance. It's like, okay, so we've talked about like the tech, we've talked about the aesthetics, we've talked about the heritage, we've talked about the it takes a ding in the audio. Like overall, I'd probably say we're like B plus range.
That's exactly where I am. Yeah.
And one thing I factored into that, which we haven't even talked about, and because we've only put 2 tanks of gas in it.
You put 2 tanks.
I put 2 tanks. Cliff's like, hey, here you go. You want to drive it? And I'm like, yeah. God damn, I got to fill it up. But it's an interesting perspective because, well, one, it takes premium gas. Obviously, it's motor package, but the gas tank's not that big. I fill up the Tundra and I'm like,
you're there for like 3 hours.
I'm doing a walk around of my vehicle, making sure like my traction boards aren't loose and whatever. And like this, you like put in, it's like clink, it's done. And I'm like, even the other day, Casey and I were out. We had to go fill it up, and it had like 40 miles to empty, and we put like $60 of gas in it, which although it'd be premium, it was $4 and something. But it's like, and when the thing reset, it said you now have 200 and some odd miles to empty, and it was and we're getting like, I've been driving it. Trying to drive it very conservatively, unless it was like the situation where I was talking about earlier on Market Street, to see if I could get the MPGs.
Sounds like he's lying.
Yeah, all right. Well, maybe not.
Trying to drive it very conservatively.
Maybe not on the highway.
Yeah.
But trying to see if I could get the MPGs to climb, but it's kind of capped out at like 15 and a half.
Yeah.
So like I think for a 4-cylinder turbo hybrid, I was thinking double that.
Yeah. Well, I was thinking like at least lower 20s, but yeah, the gas mileage is, frankly, when I first got the 4Runner before,
when it was actually stock.
Yeah, before it was modded, I think it got 18, somewhere in that range, 19.
But I'm also interested to see it only has we've only put like almost 400 miles on it. So when Sean and I were having a conversation about it earlier, and he was like, "Oh, my car was that same way." Like when I first, because he got it brand new, and then after he put some actual mileage on it, it
should improve.
Then it actually had data to trend and said, "Okay, no, it's actually like way more than that." So at this point, it's like it is what it is.
Yeah.
But it's kind of one of those like, let's see where it goes. Like,
also, we haven't used, or at least I didn't, eco mode. Did you use that at all? You're probably just in like sport slam it mode.
Actually, I've been in normal. Just
sure. Okay. All right.
So, but yeah, B plus.
B plus. Yeah. I mean,
B plus. Yeah.
That's where I am. I was going to say B plus. It's a different vehicle, and I never have owned an old Land Cruiser. While I love Toyota, like I don't have that experience.
Right.
But I do love, the Land Cruiser. I do love the FJ. Kind of never owned one, but from a distance, and I like.
I've always been intrigued by them.
Yeah. I like what they've done with this to kind of bring that whole. It's definitely a Toyota, which is cool. All right, so I think that pretty much sums up the first 3 weeks of ownership. I'm sure we missed some things. But
That's right. It'll be good to pick them up in episode 2.
Episode 2, right. Well, so what I'm hoping to do before episode 2 is take it on the trails, have some, well, we will do that. So we'll take it on the trails, give some feedback on that. But yeah, so far we seem to be both in the same ballpark, B+.
Yeah.
You know, it's a Toyota vehicle. It's just like anything. It's got positives and some opportunities.
Yeah, you know, we took it out to Toyotas and Coffee.
Oh, yeah.
And very well received.
Oh, yeah.
So I would say we probably had, I mean, out of all of the vehicles there, it got a lot of attention. So, you know, clearly, not to just crap on Toyota this whole time. Like, clearly, you know, they've done some stuff right that it's attracting a diverse group of people. I mean, because Toyotas and Coffee, we had, you know, you have truck owners, you have MR2 owners, you have, you know, Lexus, Supra, like everybody's there, and everybody came to look at it.
Yeah.
So clearly it's
positive feedback.
Right. Yeah. It's checking the right boxes for, I think, what people would think a Land Cruiser, like, you know, a reborn Land Cruiser would be. It just, you know, obviously in our business and our opinions, could always be better.
Yeah. And our, you know, I think overall our stance kind of as this will proceed is like, you know, there's only one thing constant in life, and that's change. Everything is going to change. So you can either roll with it or not. So, like, I'm going to spend no time, like, saying what it doesn't have compared to the old Land Cruiser or this and that and the other or anything.
Life's too short to drive life's too short to drive stock vehicles.
Right,
so.
right. And even if you do, that's cool too.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but anyway, it's a pleasure, brother.
Yeah.
We'll see you next time.
Episode 2.